Hi guys, so I recorded my One Tree Hill overall synopsis earlier tonight and I uploaded it onto YouTube and it's still uploading. There's like 48 minutes left. From talk on Facebook, I guess YouTube is being super slow. So anyways, because YouTube and iMovie are busy, I am filming this on my bloggy and I only have like 10 minutes of space on this card for some reason. I don't know, so I'm gonna try to go fast, which is why I spent 30 seconds telling you about that. So I took notes in my little journal on tonight's episode, and here we go. Okay, so One Tree Hill, Season 9, Episode 1. The show starts out ridiculous. It's probably the most ridiculous opening I've ever seen on a show ever, because you're just like, what the hell is going on? First there's all this fire, and Hannah, I should set the scene, here we go. Chris is laying in bed like a normal person. Hannah is in the middle, and I am laying with my head at the foot of the bed with my feet up, and I'm like taking notes furiously as I'm watching the show. And Hannah sees the fire and she's like, hot. And every time they keep bouncing back to the fire, Hannah's like, hot. And I'm like, yes, Hannah, hot. Anyways. So you see Dan, who is Nathan's father, and I said he was going to be there, and he's the very first person you see, and Chris Keller. Chris Keller is a musician from like way back. Haley in high school went on this like musical tour, and her and Chris Keller sang When the Stars Go Blue. So every time I see him, that's what I think of. So anyways, they're in the car and they're like guns and it's ridiculous, and then Chase is the Laguna Beach boy. He's like in the back seat of a police car, and you can tell like his hands are handcuffed behind him and he's got like blood splatter on his face, and you're like, what the hell is going on? Then Clay and Quinn, it cuts to Clay and Quinn, and they're like walking into a house and they're fighting, and Quinn's like, get the hell out of here. Then Brooke has this one-person food fight in a cafe, which maybe is hers, maybe is the other one's, I don't know. And then Haley is at the morgue, and she slowly walks in. You can tell she's at the morgue. They pull back the curtain, and she has like the most horrified look, and you don't know who it is. You don't know if it's Nathan. You don't know if it's Jamie. It's probably not Lydia. Like, maybe it's Quinn, her sister. I don't know. But like, obviously that's not going to get resolved this episode. That's just like a foretaste of what's to come. And then very last little bit in the intro is Julian getting the absolute crap pounded out of him, to the point where I had to like look really closely to figure out which actor it was. It was Julian. Julian of Brooke and Julian, and they have the little boys. So then it cuts to like present day. Julian and isn't that funny? I wrote Peyton. Julian and Brooke are in bed and they're taking care of their twin boys, and you can tell that their twin boys are like giving them the hardest time ever and they're not able to sleep. And I thought Julian's quote was, people say it gets better. People lie. And that's, I'm pretty sure I said the exact same thing when Hannah was like 6 weeks old and just decided not to sleep anymore. It's a really rough time, and it was kind of fun to see it honestly portrayed. And with twins, I bet it'd be really hard. Then it cuts to Haley and Nathan. They're talking on the cell phone. Haley's obviously at home. Nathan's in an airport. He's got a buzz cut. He looks super hot, and you can tell that he's been away on business a lot. And then all of a sudden, Clay is like sleeping on a merry-go-round, and I don't know what the hell is going on with that. So then it goes back to the fire. Hannah saying hot, and Dan walking out of the fire. Commercial break. And you're just gonna like, whoa, that was so much information. I had to pause it so I could like take notes. So then the show starts, right? And it's kind of like normal. Haley walks up to her cafe and the door is ajar, and she's kind of like, what's going on? Nothing is trash, no one is there, but the door is open. Then it cuts to Quinn picking up Clay at the playground. So I guess he woke up and called her. Chase and Alex in bed. Chase is the Laguna Beach, Alex is the actress. They're in bed and they're having this, she calls him her sexy fighter pilot bar manager, and then they have a makeout scene, and Alex has an amazing butt. I'm talking about the girl. Alex is a girl. Amazing butt. She just does. And then it just cuts to Julian, probably at a bank, and he's signing some paperwork, and you assume he's taking out a loan, but who knows what for. So then Quinn and Clay, we find out that Clay has been sleepwalking, and she just found him at a park a mile away, and it's been ongoing an issue, and he's like, I don't want to go see a doctor yet. I'm fine. Oh my goodness, my battery is running low. So then Brooke and Haley are at the cafe and they're gabbing, and Haley's like, you just gotta let him cry it out. The solution to everything is iPod and a glass of wine. She tells that to everybody, because obviously Clay looks exhausted and there's someone else is cranky. Anyways, iPod and a glass of wine. So Julian, he was signing paperwork for a soundstage, because remember, he is a movie director. And then it cuts to Chris Keller, remember Sky Goes Blue, And he is going to run Red Bedroom Records, which is the record label that Peyton originally started and then Haley took over, and now Chris Keller is going to start over. Remember, if you ever watched the show way back in the day, Chris Keller is the one that came between Haley and Nathan when Haley went on tour with him. I think they kissed a little bit, and I don't think anything really happened. Haley was just experimenting. Anyways, Haley is not super excited to see Chris Keller. I'm pretty sure she said nope, nope, nope. And then Alex sexts a picture to Chase because we've got to have a little bit of sex in the show. And then it's really cute, like, fishbowl lens, like, with Brooke all up in her baby's faces. We are awake during the day. You get a job, you go to work, then you can sleep at night. And we finally see Brooke's mom, Victoria. I totally forgot to mention her in the recap. She's kind of a bitch, but, you know, you love her. She's from Melrose Place. If she looks familiar, that's where you know her from. And her last name starts with a Z, Zuniga or whatever. I don't know. And it's funny. Julian's last name is Baker, and so they are the Fabulous Baker Boys. The little twins. That's what they call them. She comes up with an idea, because remember, she's a fashion designer, for Baker Man, a line of designer duds for your little man. Or men. And then we find out that the boys are going to be christened tomorrow, and that Brooke has invited her dad. Her dad and her mother are very much estranged. Alex is all of a sudden singing country music. Alex's real life name is Jana Keller? Oh, I don't know. They're going to have to push that even more because it hasn't stuck yet. But all throughout this episode, they're talking about how she sings country now. Chris Keller calls it crappy. And I also liked his quote, "See, in the movies, this is what we call sexual tension." It was really funny. Again, he keeps saying that the song is crappy, but that ass is not. See, I told you. She's got a really amazing butt. So then it gets back to Quinn and Clay, and Quinn stays up all night trying to catch Clay sleepwalking, but he doesn't. He sleeps all through the night, so that's great. But they agreed to go to the doctor in the morning because obviously Quinn is exhausted and she can't do that every night. So then it cuts to Haley. She's walking downstairs in the PJs in her house, obviously, and she finds the door ajar. I'm noticing a theme here. It's kind of sketchy, super creepy. She goes in and checks on Jamie. Jamie had an issue with a crazy nanny that tried to kidnap him. Anyways, and then Nathan calls and he says he'll be home tomorrow, but she doesn't check on Lydia. And then it cuts to someone trying to pick the lock. He's got thin arms and a short sleeve t-shirt, but you just kind of see him in shadow. Commercial break. Oh my god, I'm not gonna get this done. I'm not gonna get this done! Okay, so Brooke is driving the boys and she has this really great quote. Remember, she dealt with infertility. Sometimes my heart aches at how my life turned out, in a good way. It doesn't mean there hasn't been hardships. There have been. But I'm here, and here is good. I like that. So then they're at the christening. Chase and Alex have another sex scene kind of thing. Chase goes in and yells at Chris Keller because Chris Keller is preventing him from having sex because Alex is so upset about, he said my song was crappy. And he goes, I had an amazing sex life till you shut up, you peacock-looking dork. I thought that was kind of funny. Julian gets a call about bad news, and then we see Clay driving with Quinn sleeping in the passenger seat. In walks Dan. Apparently Dan, I remember he works at that like crappy little diner. It burnt down, so maybe that was the fire in the first scene. I don't know. But he also lost his house because his house and his diner were the same thing. So he asked to stay at the house, and Haley says that he can do it for another night. And he's so honest for a moment that you actually kind of think Dan is likable. He's not. Chris Keller and Alex are at Red Bedroom Records, and then let's see, we go to back to the Scott's house, and we see Jamie for the first time, and he's super happy to see his grandpa. Clay and Quinn, Quinn goes to sleep because Clay took his pills, so she's like, okay, I can sleep, it's good. Oh, I love that Haley has like this little postpartum pooch that you can kind of see. It makes her look like normal and healthy and awesome. She looks fabulous. I love her. She's one of my favorite characters. Alex, she has another bedroom scene, and I swear to God, her entire wardrobe for this episode was just like super cute panties and tank tops. And so then we're at the very end. Brooke is driving the boys. Clay is sleepwalking at the river court. Remember I mentioned the river court. Julian is at the soundstage. Dan is holding baby Lydia, and then Nathan walks in. Hello, son. Welcome home. It was a really good episode. I hope you guys watched it. I did a little quick recap. I'm super excited for this season, and I hope you will follow along and watch these vlogs and comment below. Yeah. Good night, guys.